Welcome to the Money and Us podcast. Rotimi Merriman-Johnson, aka Mr. Money Jar. It's so good to have you here. You are I would say, one of the UK's most well-regarded finance creators, a financial advisor, and someone I admire very much in the work that you do. It's good to have you here. I normally jump straight into a podcast, but I feel like we need to give everyone a bit of context today because you and I could sit down and have a lovely chat about sort of theoretically money and relationships. We both got partners and they are here today. But I thought it'd be much better. And I remember having a phone call with you the other day talking about having you on the podcast. And I just thought it would be much better if we actually brought it back to real life for us rather than it being theoretical and a few ideas that we had, and invite our partners along to have a chat about money and relationships. So it's not just you and I today.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
This is already making me nervous having you. I just don't know what you're going to say. So we haven't just got you, Rotimi. We've also got your lovely fiancée, Dora, who is a very talented makeup artist.
Thank you.
It's lovely to meet you at last because I've
Lovely
heard
to
so
meet
many
you.
nice things about you.
Oh, bless.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
And for being willing to chat about money and relationships.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolute joy. And it's just a topic I think we need to get into for reasons that we will unpack in a moment. And my lovely husband is here, Simon.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Anna's lovely husband. And it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this as well, because, this is a bit of a random diary entry into your work week, isn't it?
It is, but great to be here. Thank you.
It's lovely to have you. Okay, so as always, we're going to start off with fact or fiction. You guys have prepared something, haven't you? So should we guess together?
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we can do teams and we can win?
Yeah.
So I prepared two stats for this. The first one is 1 in 5 Brits have considered ending their relationship over salary differences.
Good
1 in
stat.
5 Brits considered ending their relationship on salary differences.
Salary differences, not even
Just-
other things. Salary differences. I'm trying to think how that would play out as well in a relationship.
Think of 5 couples that we know. How many of them have got an issue with a salary difference?
Oh, you're doing it. Okay,
I'm
I
just
see how your
running the
brain
maths.
works.
Is 1 in 5 like realistic? I think so.
I think so. I think it's true.
Yep.
Oi, get in.
Winning, high fives.
Well
It's,
done.
it's a 26 nationwide study.
Wow.
1 in 5. Goodness.
And the second stat I pulled up is 23% of Brits find talking about money with their partner awkward.
It's got to be higher, surely.
Yeah, that feels low. Considering by how our marriage goes, that's got to be the joke. That's got to be low. Yeah, I don't think it's true.
Also, I think I noticed a little smirk as well when you were saying
A little
the stats.
micro expression.
Giving it away.
It's 23%.
What are you going to say? You go.
Well, I think it's fiction.
Would you like to guess what you think it actually is?
Yes.
Go on.
I've got a hint for you though, Simon.
go
Yeah,
on.
go
It's
on.
a call back to a joke you made before the podcast aired.
Okay.
So it's not 23. It's
It's either 24,
or
22.
22.
Is it? Wow, it's even lower.
So we wouldn't have got it anyway.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, I said fiction, but 22.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
That's a clear
I was
score.
surprised it wasn't higher as well.
Yeah.
It's a clear score study.
But maybe the
That's-
Brits also were afraid to admit it, so that's why it's warped.
Yeah,
Mm.
because you got the double thing of relationship
Yeah.
and money.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
very good. Okay.
I wanted to ask you both as well. Is this both of your first time being on camera
Together.
together?
No.
This is our first time being on
Yeah.
camera.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool.
May this
Yeah.
be the first of many.
Yeah.
Let's
I think
just
so.
put that
So-
out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
The Mr. and Mrs. Money Jar. show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The
The
brand
best looking
extension.
jar ever.
All right, let's get into okay, so I'm just going to tell everyone where we're going to go with this conversation. Hopefully, obviously, we'll see where the conversation leads us. But the idea is to kind of just talk about our experiences with being in a relationship and money. Also, just to derive some wisdom, anything you've picked up over the years that might just help give people a few ideas. We'll get to sort of the more how-tos at the end. But first of all, I want to talk about you guys, partly because I'm nosy and I want to know how you guys got together and all of these things. Tell tell me, back to the beginning. How did you meet?
So I feel like we met for the first time twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Explain.
So the first time was online,
2023,
2023.
December, I saw a video of him basically co-signing a poet and encouraging Black men to wear their afros out. And I actually thought he was a poet at first when I saw the content. So I followed him because I thought, oh, this is really cool. And then I had an account that was impersonating him follow me back. And I was like, oh, that's strange. He doesn't seem like the type that would just follow everyone back. And then they DM'd me and they were like, how to grow your followers and all of this stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, this is a scam. And then I messaged him. I was like, by the way, there's this account mimicking your account. And he's like, thank you. Can you report them? So I reported them. And then like 5 months later, 2024 April, I see him on Hinge. And I message him and I'm like, oh, I think I messaged you about someone imitating your account. And he's like, oh, yeah, that is me. He's like, I assure you, this is my real account.
Yeah. I was going to say.
So we met for the first time twice, but
That's
yeah,
so lovely.
ever so glad that 2 algorithms brought us together.
Wow,
Nice.
Yeah.
fancy that.
Oh, well, the universe wants something to come together. It happens.
Exactly. It was
What-
mutually forcing us.
Yeah, you will be
Yeah,
together.
this will happen.
What were your first impressions like when you met in real life in person?
Yeah.
Algorithms aside, what did you think of each other at the start?
So my immediate first impression was Dora's absolutely beautiful.
Oh.
And she looked amazing in her pictures already, but in real life feels even more so. So I just remember thinking that.
Yeah. I was thinking, oh God, he's taller than I thought.
Yeah.
So that was a win for me.
Yeah.
And the whole date was just like pleasantly surprising. I felt like he was very intentional as well, and he was like really literal. I picked that up straight away. And around at the end of the date, he's like, "Oh, so would you want to meet up again?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Great." He takes out his phone and puts it into the diary. I was like, "Oh my God,
Right,
this
okay,
is
yeah.
easy."
Yeah.
I love that. That's so nice. I think that was similar with us. I think that was one of the things that stood out to me about Simon. He did the exact same thing. He was like, so we've done this. We've just been, we've been on a date. I don't do that with everyone. Should we do it again? And it was
Yeah.
like, and then you followed up. It was really good. It's a good
It's so
trait.
nice when things are easy. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And up front,
Exactly.
like-
yeah.
it's kind of sneaking around. When did you know that this isn't just fun? This is now, relationships are fun. Getting engaged is fun. What am I saying? But you knew it was more serious, and you knew. So you've now been engaged for how many months?
Nearly a year. At
Nearly
the
a
time of
year.
recording, we got engaged last May. So basically, we went on our first date, which in the online dating world is almost like a date zero. You're like just meeting, seeing if there's chemistry there. Then we went on a second date and on a third date. And then by our fourth date, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. So that was within a couple of months. And we knew we wanted to be serious, both wanted to be taken off the market.
Yeah. We were so tired. We were like,
Take
thank
me.
God.
Yeah.
We're like,
Take
we're happy
me
to be
off.
together,
Yeah.
but we're also just happy to be out there.
And then
That's so
we
nice.
on our fourth date, it was a really nice May isn't summer, is it? But it was a really sunny day, and we went to Maida Vale, and the plan was to get a boat ride to Camden along Regent's Canal. And we met, but the boat never came. So we just sat and had a conversation about how we wanted to be together.
Yeah.
And
By the
then-
canal.
By the canal.
Yeah. Very
And,
romantic.
I can't remember how. No, we walked from there to Hyde Park afterwards. Yeah, and we just sat in the park. We're both really happy. And then I proposed on our first year anniversary.
Oh,
So there's a video of this on my feed.
Nice. Okay.
And-
everyone go watch.
Yeah.
And what we did that day was I said we should go back to the canal and get the boat.
That you never got.
That you
That we never got. And she
Yeah.
thought it was our
He is a
first year
poet.
anniversary.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
thought it was just our first year anniversary. I was looking forward to the boat, finally getting on the boat.
Yeah.
And on the way there, he was really quiet. And I
Yeah.
was like really happy. I'm like, yeah, it's our first
Absolutely.
year and he's really quiet. And I'm like, oh, why does he not seem that excited? And then in like an
that
hour, I
first-
realized why.
And you're like, oh, this makes sense. now.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
it's so good. We're really happy for you guys.
Thank you.
It's really great.
Thanks so much.
And I relate to the quietness. Simon eats like really well. He loves food. He's a foodie, except for when he's nervous about asking me out. or about to propose?
Yeah, like the hour before I asked you to marry me, I barely spoke. I was just
Oh,
so like
bless.
nervous. Yeah, it's not good.
And you asked my dad for my hand in marriage, and you
Yeah, I sat
ordered a
down with your
salad.
dad. I need to talk to you. I was so nervous.
Oh, bless.
I just ordered whatever I thought on the menu, and he had this lovely meal with chips and a steak. I ordered a salad. I never eat. I was like, I must be nervous.
Gotta keep it, de-risk it.
Yeah. Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my dad was like, I know what's up. I know what's going
Yeah.
on here. All right, let's bring this to money, to conversation about money. I'd love to know. So you guys, for context, you guys have just said, you're now engaged to get married, and we have been married for nearly 18 years, which is partly
Well done.
which is partly why I thought it'd be great for us to have this conversation, because we're at such different stages of the journey. But there's so much we can learn
You
from
guys
each
look
other.
great. So got
Thanks.
married really young.
We did. Yeah.
We were literally kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
We weren't kids, just to say that's illegal.
No.
But in terms
22.
of like
22.
22, but we were
It was
we
good.
were fresh.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I would love to know, with this, we've just had this stat about people being awkward talking about money. It's a reason for relationship breakdown. When was the first time that you can remember that money came up in the conversation for you guys?
So it's an interesting one. Because of what I do, it came up from day one. Because it's like, what do you do? I'm a content, or even like before we'd met and you'd seen the video of me, you went on my feed, and it's like, oh, it's not poetry, it's money. So,
Dang it.
so from day one.
From day one.
Day one, yeah. He was always like really open. For me, I was a little bit more awkward because in our community, like where I'm from, we don't really talk about money like that. And I wouldn't say I'm obviously not as financially literate as Timmy is. And so I'm a little bit more shy around money. I'm a little bit more anxious around it, even with myself, like checking the apps and all of these things. So I was a little bit more shy around it, but he was so open, and he was open but not forceful. So that gave me time to grow and become more comfortable. Yeah.
That's so nice.
That's really good.
Do you find that helpful then? So his work that he does, it didn't put you off. Actually, you found it quite helpful.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it was nice that I was with someone who was able to teach me something that I didn't know, and he was kind of able to give me advice as well. And also like watching him do content, and from very early on, like we work together now, but from very early on, he was trying to get me involved and like asking me for advice and tips on content, because I've done like content on makeup and stuff, and through helping him I was able to pick up a few things as well. Yeah,
that's really cool. Can you remember when we first talked about money, or whether it was a feature early on?
I don't remember talking about it loads before we were married. No, I remember the early days of marriage. I don't know if that's helpful now, but yeah, it was like, I feel like we were fairly on the same page. I remember when we were going out, I was adamant to pay for everything, rightly or wrongly. But I was like, someone said to me, Simon, just be a gentleman, be chivalrous. And I was like, do you know what? I will. And I just thought, I'm not going to do that. Like, well, I've done 2, you should do 1 now. I was just like, no, I've got this. And if that meant going to do some more side hustling to earn more money, like fine. And I would like teaching other GCSE kids maths. I did a maths degree, just picking up some more students for my romance fund so I could take you out. Which parents loved. But yeah, I think it wasn't a difficult conversation. It was quite a natural thing, I think.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the dating, who pays for what, who should be paying say for a first date? Do you think there's like a rule to that now? Because I mean, I feel like this is ages ago we're talking about. It's nearly 20 years ago. What do you think?
Me and Timmy always talk about pre-COVID relationships, pre-pandemic relationships, and how the dating standards have changed so much. I would say first date is nice if the guy pays. I think it just shows he wants to look after you in a way. But I do think over time, especially in the economy we have now, it would be really hard to expect the guy to cover so much all the time. It shows a bit of generosity, but I think when the woman chips in, it shows that she also wants to support him and doesn't want to make life hard for him. Yeah.
What would be some of the like green flags that you'd be looking for early on in the dating scene to do with money?
To do with money. I always think it's nice when if you go out for like dinner or anything, if the guy, like, you finish your drink and the guy's like, oh, do you want anything else? Do you want more? It's nice because I think if you're a woman and you're like fairly, you're trying to not be to not come across like you want to take all of his money, and so like you finish your drink and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to order more, I'm having a good time, I want to keep it flowing. It's nice when the guy kind of like opens that up, because I think it just shows that he wants you to have fun and he wants you to be comfortable, and obviously when someone's generous you feel more connected to them. So yeah, I would say that's a green flag.
It's a great question. This is such a good conversation. I wanted to give a quick build on what Simon said. I'm very thankful for our relationship because I experienced the same. And our relationship too. I experienced a lot of growth being with Dora because, yeah, we do as men have this sense of responsibility, whether that be like real or imagined. And it does push you to want to do more and to want to make more. It does push you to evolve as a man. And I've actually really valued that in this relationship. And one of to come to the second question, one of the green flags for me is and was willingness to talk about money openly, particularly culturally. So because I'm Nigerian heritage, Dora's Congolese heritage, the cultures they're distinct, but there is some overlap. We were able to talk about some of the culturally nuanced aspects of money as well. Like, for example, I could talk about giving money to grandparents, for example, back home, and then that's just instantly understood.
Right.
You would see that, and that's for each individual culture, right? But you would see that as a green flag as well, I would say.
Yeah.
So there'd be certain things that you would have experienced growing up just culturally and would want for your future that you'd want to be sharing with your partner, and you'd need to talk about those.
Well, I think relationships, you first bond based on interests, but you actually stay together based on values. And so if your values can align, then that's a good sign from the beginning.
Yeah. And I do think that's one area that we had it quite easy early on, was because we did connect over values. We've both got faith. We connected over our faith.
Yeah.
And those values we were quite open with and honest about. So there'd be key things in there like generosity, looking out for others. It's not just about our little unit. We need to be thinking wider than that. And that's got to feature in our finances. And I think those conversations were probably like quite early in our, would you agree?
I say we were aligned on values on like almost everything. Just like ding, 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 ding. So just for context, we dated for 7 months, got engaged for 7 months, then we got married.
Oh, wow.
And then we were married at 22. So that's from what I can understand, that was quite fast. Not everyone's story is like that. But it actually meant, from finances, values, generosity, saving, other stuff, we were just, it wasn't a place of conflict.
No.
We were just so attuned and like, right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And Dora made the point about pre-pandemic relationships, and a lot has changed.
I was thinking
just to say, so you say you've been together for basically 18, 19 years. A lot has changed. And the analogy that I would use is there was like a world before social media and a world since social media. Dating apps have done that for relationships.
Right.
So you went from a world in which meeting people was localized and kind of a handful of people to now there's an algorithm behind it, and you can at least feel like you can meet hundreds, if not thousands of people via an app. And dating apps have been with us since like 2012, you could argue, like Tinder. But once we went through the pandemic and everyone was at home on dating apps, the culture's completely shifted. And that's also why we were so happy that we were able to meet and that things were just able to work. Because I would say it's really difficult to meet someone now.
Just quickly, how would you describe the difference on the culture of the dating app, just pre and post?
I describe it as the Amazonification of people. So they've taken everything that works about social media and shopping apps and even like job apps like Indeed or something, and have applied it to dating.
Yeah.
And we've done the experiments with the jam. You give someone 6 jars of jam, they'll buy a jar of jam. You give someone 30 jars of jam, their head will explode and they won't buy any jam.
The paradox of
They've
choice.
done the paradox of choice. There's a corporation behind it that has a share price that's trying to make money. So they actually benefit from things not working. And then social media makes you feel as though you could potentially meet anyone. When 20 years ago, it was the people in your town or in your locality.
Yeah.
Social media makes people also like very skeptical, and it's increased the standards, but also just like all the boxes people have to tick. And so it makes people hesitant. And I think each stage takes so much longer now. Like you guys said, you were dating for 7 months and got engaged. Nowadays, people are like talking for 7 months before they get in the relationship.
The pre-talking stage,
or
the
even
talking
just
stage,
become
the dating
exclusive.
stage, the exclusive stage, the boyfriend-girlfriend stage, the pre-engage. Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah.
And the same thing has happened to weddings as well. So I think I counted something like between 15 and 20 events that you can do from meeting someone all the way to having your first child.
Wow.
From like wedding to engagement to baby shower to push present to mini. So you met at a good time. You're in
And for
really good
context,
place.
right? This you're gonna love this. You're thinking wedding planning now, right? You're thinking ahead. That's a whole nother thing, right? When we were planning our wedding, Pinterest wasn't a thing. So you chose one color and that was the color for your wedding, and everyone just had that color. So there was none of this like mood boarding. Well, I mean, maybe some people who are clever did all that stuff. I didn't. It was like, we're going for red. You're wearing a red tie. The bridesmaids are wearing red. The flowers are going to be red.
You had a red wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
and then
nice.
What year are we talking?
2008.
Yeah, so and then Instagram is 09.
Yes, yeah.
So now you're doing it for an audience,
You are.
potentially.
Yeah.
And so and then there's apps and everything. So yeah, it's really interesting what's happened.
That's so true. Like when we were planning photography and stuff, I'd never thought this is going to be seen by the world.
No.
Like it's literally just, it's our memory to show our kids when we're older. Like, but now if we were planning it, you're like, well, that's going to go on a story or that's going to be a thing.
You have to think of how it looks on socials,
Yeah.
how the video is going to be.
They're like, they got a video, we've got a video.
Yeah. Goodness. And this is really helpful as well with my parent brain on, because this is the world that our kids are inheriting. A lot of people listening to this will have kids.
Yeah.
And they'll be thinking, well, it wasn't like that when I was dating. Well, yeah, it really wasn't. And we're having to upskill ourselves about all of this even now. And our kids are just becoming teenagers. So you're just thinking, we don't understand. Like, we actually don't. So it's our responsibility to understand what they're going through and how different it is from what we went through. And I actually do feel really grateful that it was literally like we met in person. And we kind of we met because of those shared values. That was the context. So there was already that there. And I think that served us well. I don't take that for granted. I think that's really cool.
But just as a final point, just so I'm not being completely disparaging of apps, they are good at like algorithms.
We obviously
They are good at helping you to meet people that you otherwise wouldn't have, but it's a double-edged sword, as with all technology.
And I've got so many friends that have met through an app and they're very happily married. And it can be a very useful tool. So I totally agree. Okay, right. Let's get into a bit of the detail here. So Rotimi, you talk about money every day, like literally all the time, as do I. You educate people on it, but is it different when it comes to your own real life and your own relationship?
It's a great question. I talk about money every day and I'm happy with where I'm at financially, but I think people might assume that I have my finances perfect, where I really don't. I just have tools and systems that I've put in place that allow me to track things and measure things and figure out when stuff might have gone wrong. But I think if people were to look at how I run my finances or maybe even how we run them as a couple, they might be surprised at how similar to their finances it is.
Wow, that's quite reassuring.
Yeah.
Do you see that connection between his work life and what he's teaching everyone and how it flows through into your relationship?
Yeah, definitely. I would say he's like very transparent and he's very organized. He's constantly checking like what money is coming out and just like making sure he's managing how much he's spending. Like, yeah, sometimes I would say he spends quite a lot on like technology. He likes to like know the new games and the new tech stuff. But I wouldn't actually say he's not too impulsive. He's not. Yeah, I would say he's pretty sensible.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty sensible. Tick. Great. Do you ever have you ever had a moment where you've thought to yourself, like, I know what I should be doing, but it's actually really hard to actually do it in real life?
Could you give me an example?
Example would be maybe like pension or retirement or putting more into savings or house versus, I mean, we were talking just before we started about house versus not marriage, house versus wedding and the costs around wedding and the decision making there. Is there anything that you've ever had a moment where you think, I know technically this is what I would tell someone else to do, but it's actually harder when I try and do it?
I would say the biggest example of that for me is knowing how much to spend now versus later.
Right.
Because a lot of life milestones have changed. And when we look at the average age at which a person buys a house for the first time or starts a family, all those ages are going up and retirement ages are going up and the way that we live and work are changing as well. And so when I see, for example, a young person who perhaps doesn't have enough money, say, for a house deposit, but wants to go on holiday and experience and build memories, I can empathize with that and I can see why you might want to spend in the now. And that's something that I come up against as well. How much gratification should I be delaying when the world is so fundamentally different from how it was for the generations that came before us? So
I relate.
Yeah. So some people might see the way that I spend money, for example, like on the tech stuff. But I'm like, no, like I want to have fun now.
Yeah.
And I also, because in our niche, like we see so many young people that are like really big on investing and really big on piling up money. And I think it's a really positive thing because I wished that I got and started investing earlier. But I'm also like, you're only in your 20s once. In
It's
4
finding
years'
that
time,
balance.
your back is going to start hurting for no reason.
Yeah.
Go on holiday, have fun. Don't spend all of it, but have fun. They're like, oh, I've got this much in my ISA, and well, everyone's
Yeah.
Do you relate to that feeling of now and then, like the what we're doing with our money right now today? Because I feel like you're quite you like to go big on things. You like to have a good time, but you're also a real big thinker for the future. So there's a bit of a kind of mishmash sometimes with that. What do you think about?
Yeah, we've definitely been on a journey over that stuff for sure. I don't think it's a tension that goes away, or probably all the way up to like just approaching retirement. Even in retirement, it's still a thing. How much of my pension should I draw down now versus will I be in a care home for 20 years? Or who's going to pay for that? Will the kids pay for that? I definitely relate to that. I think we make guiding principles around what we will put aside at this stage of our life and decide that kind of once or twice a year and keep looking at it and then make good choices to enjoy the rest of it.
Yeah. And I do think one of my favourite things about you, and I've said this before, I can't remember where, but I have said it before, is that I like the fact that you're quite measured, you're quite sensible. He's the one that will look at all the numbers, the detail. I'll be a bit more like big pictures is the kind of thing we need to be doing percentage wise, but you'll get into the granular of it all. And then yet you will be happy to just blow the budget and have a really good time and just and also kind of enjoy the moment knowing it's going to be okay, like knowing we'll be all right. So there'll be things that we've done even in the last year. I can think of things I'm like, well, right, there it goes, the money's off. Okay, cool. Have the best time, but it was the right thing to do and it all works out. And I can't quite work out how it works out. But I think left to my own devices, I would be a bit too worried.
That's also like down to your how comfortable you are with risk.
Yes,
it comes into it.
True.
And you'd say yourself quite risk adverse.
What do you mean, Simon?
Like we could be in a completely safe space financially. No, still I don't want to do that. We're like, that's not rational. Like, we're okay. We can do this. So I think there's your perspective on it as well. It's I'm not always as gung ho as it might look. It might just be it's okay.
I want to ask the same question to you that I asked Rotimi about the work that I do and being someone who teaches financial literacy, whether that's a help or a hindrance in our relationship, do you think knowing more about money is beneficial to relationships specifically? Or do you think actually sometimes that just makes it harder?
It's definitely beneficial. Of course it is. Like you're bringing so much expertise. I guess one thing that's different is that we've grown in this journey together. So as you were discovering the stuff, reading these books, and like I'm the first person you're sharing with.
Yeah, true.
Like, oh wow, how is it we're both in our 30s? No one's ever taught us this. Wow, that's amazing. So it feels like our journey, even though actually you're the one who's definitely done a lot more study and reading and learning about it. The first-hand application of what you learn is us and our family. So I've definitely been on the journey with you from the beginning in that sense. But yeah, I've never felt like a threat or a pressure or a difficulty. I think now what it'd be like to meet Anna on a dating app and knowing this was her job and put myself in your shoes. It's like to be like, flex on my money knowledge or something like that. Yeah. When I spend too much, put that in the pension. Yeah. Anyway, what
Drop
you say?
a bit of jargon about investing in the conversation. Yeah. Okay, I'm pleased to hear that because I don't think I've ever asked you that, and I'm glad that you're not tearing your hair out and hating every minute of it. You guys, I believe both work for yourselves. Is that right?
Yes.
And Dora,
I part-time work for myself, but I also work on the shop floor as a beauty advisor.
Wow.
And I freelance as a makeup artist, so I'm like juggling a few things.
Because I wanted to talk specifically about that because I know people listening will be self-employed. They'll be figuring that out. I'm getting. With the way the world's going, I'm getting more and more questions about being self-employed from people that, or they're employed and they've got a side hustle going on and they're trying to figure out all of that. Taxes, how do I put money aside? How do I save? So I'd love to just briefly touch on this about how that works as both of you being self-employed or having varied income. What's that like?
We have to be very intentional. I think we often have conversations about what our month or our week looks like. I think we approach the money stuff in the same way we approach like quality time. So it's just about pre-planning, having conversation, being intentional. Timmy works usually from like Monday to, I would say, he works Monday to Friday, takes Saturday off, and then he works on Sundays. I would work on the shop floor typically around the weekend, but then I also help him 3 days a week. And sometimes I freelance. So it's like, we'd be like, okay, so when are we spending time together this week or the next few weeks? And I think that's kind of the same thing as money. I would usually communicate when I'm freelancing, so we kind of know what's coming in with that.
Nice.
But then we're also having conversations about what's coming in through the business, how much money I'm making on the shop floor, that type of thing. And so, yeah, it's just about transparency and intentionality, I would say.
It sounds like that there's actually an added layer of need of communication then when things aren't set in stone and like, this is my salary that I'm getting.
Absolutely.
But you sounds like you've been really intentional about doing that.
Yeah.
And did that come right from the start? I guess like you said that you did talk about money early on, but...
Yeah. I would say it came from the start, but I would say Timmy led on it. He's very direct, and so like he'll ask you a question and you'll be like, oh, like no one's ever asked me that before. I've never had to disclose that. You're kind of like, should I disclose it? But he led because he was disclosing so much about like how much he was making in different months for like different projects. And I was like, oh, okay. So like if he's going to be open, then I should be open as well. Because that's how relationships work, when you kind of meet each other in the middle. The moment someone becomes quite hesitant, I think then it creates a bit of an imbalance. So yeah.
I think it's really impressive. And we did it for a little while, didn't we? Where we were both working on this together. And it was hard to like navigate, wasn't it?
Yes.
And now we're in a position where you've got the sensible, stable job and I'm the bit, mine's the more risky situation.
We're both probably similar to you. You just both carry a lot of responsibility, and every hour you could be working. Like you actually just keep going. So we've had to learn how to draw boundaries at different points.
Boundaries.
Yes.
That's the challenge. So when we first started going out, Dora was you were doing freelance makeup artistry, you didn't have a job, and then I was doing the content creation, and I was in a building phase. I would say a lot of the things I've built and now they run, but at the time I was trying out new things and stuff, and so I would just always talk about work. And then she'll be like, okay, can we go to bed? Like,
No sleep. No sleep.
So boundaries have been really important because like work is part of life. It's not the whole thing. But then I would kind of say in my defense, I was thinking so much about work because transparently, I find this job we do really unpredictable. And like, it's just been 6 years of not knowing when the next job is going to come in. But another thing has always come in. So I would talk about work because I would have this thing of I need to keep money coming in. What I would say has happened though is now we started working together. I would say that I definitely talk about work less, but I would say quite a lot of time you'll bring up.
Yeah, and now I bring up
You'll
work.
bring up the work things. Which
It
I
gets
think is great.
addictive, yeah.
Yeah. She was like, oh yeah. Go on then.
Yeah. So like we'll be, and then Dora will be like, yeah, did you post that thing? Did you make sure, like, what caption did we use for that? How many views is that thing on? So yeah, you like in a good relationship, you keep each other accountable, you sharpen each other up. So yeah, but boundaries are so important.
Absolutely. Boundaries are always important. Despite like me picking those habits up now, but like we still speak and we're like, yeah, we do need to make sure that our whole relationship doesn't become about work, because there are other things to life.
No phones in bed for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise you're just on social media.
Yeah. Let's talk more about boundaries, because I feel like we've tapped into something good here, because the post-COVID life and world of like, it's always on. Everything's always on. How do you do it? How do you actually maintain clear boundaries? What are your tips for that? What are our tips for that? Because I'm trying to think how we do it, because we've got kids as well, and it can't always be on. You have to be focused on them in a significant chunk of every day. So I think I've been thinking about a lot about this recently, because I just think, as in my jobs, I could be posting all the time. There's always more I could be doing. And I know some people just do that. They post every single day without fail. And I've never felt comfortable doing that. Where are you guys sitting with all of that? How are you like mapping out your week and figuring out?
We have a daily process called CEST.
CEST.
Calendars, emails, socials, and tasks. So we outsource to systems. We will speak every day about what we're doing that day, how long we're working for, when the cutoff time is. Same with the to-do list, same with what we're posting and when we're posting. Outsource to systems. Secondly, we recognize that we're building for the long term. And so it's not about how business, particularly in social, how things do today or tomorrow or even next week, but it's about how things perform down the line, perhaps in months or years. And I'm a big fan of cultivating your environment to get the best out of yourself. I wrote quite a few books on habit, like Atomic Habits and The Power of Habit. And like if you charge your phone next to your bed, then you will pick up and you'll scroll. So charge it on the other side of the room. Buy a real alarm clock rather than use your phone as one, that sort of thing. Because all these tools and devices and systems and platforms have been built to be addictive. They've been built with our dopamine receptors in mind, and you're not going to beat them. You're just not going to beat Meta and Apple and all these people. So you need to alter your environment to get the best out of yourself.
Yeah, I would say as well, in terms of boundaries, you have to facilitate an environment that allows the other person to communicate boundaries. I would say that's something that I struggled with at first, because I hate like confrontation or like having to be honest on a negative subject. And so I think Timmy has made it easy for me to feel comfortable to tell him when, like, okay, I'm not working today or I'm not working anymore. So like, I don't want to talk about Mr. Money Jar right now, So like, it's,
I like it.
And
nice boundaries.
He's like, nice boundaries. The other day, I was really honest with him about something. He's like, oh, I like the directness. I'm like, cool, because that was really hard for me.
Oh, okay.
And there's also, I would say, we've done couple therapy.
Nice.
So that's made communication and like boundary setting a lot easier for us, I would say.
Yeah. And just a context around that, I think couples therapy should come before the thing happens. the platform we use is called Relate. It's online. We spoke to a lovely lady.
Yeah, it's great.
Did like a month or two with her, but it's just a really good idea to sit down and speak with someone before an event happens. So you have that shared ways of communicating, ways of working together. And should a situation arise, and that can be between both of you or in life, because life happens as well, you have that shared playbook of how you both engage around that particular thing.
I think that's great advice. I think we didn't do that. I think we learned from going through stuff how to communicate, but we learned well. I think, you know, it did teach us so many things, but I think that idea of like just get help and learn how to communicate first before the big issue comes up is really great advice.
To be fair, around the time you guys got together, I think things like couple therapy was still seen as a bit of a taboo as well. And it was seen as something that's like almost like pre-planning problems in some ways. So yeah, it's good that you were able to figure it out organically.
Well, it's definitely moved on a lot since I remember when in our 20s, even I honestly went into my 20s without a clue on like things like depression, mental health.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I didn't understand. I just never learned it. I never got taught it. And I struggled with my mental health in my 20s, and I had to understand first. Like I just went through it to understand it. So I think the world's come on a lot since then in terms of talking about these things. But I love to hear that you've got that openness and that kind of, I love that your response is, you know, great, you said something hard. I love that, rather than can't believe you just told me that. That's really lovely.
Well, we're made for each other. There's no other person we could have been with.
Yeah, I do think that, yeah. For sure.
So good.
We're locked in.
It's good.
All right, let's talk about some of the stuff that's a bit harder to talk about. You're going to love this. Let's talk about arguments with money, because we've just established that you guys do have a lovely sense of openness and there's an ease about you. I can see that just being with you. Some people don't. It can be really, really difficult. We've already heard about, you know, people breaking up over differences in salary and the stats around that. It's one of the main reasons people do break up and marriages break down. Let's talk firstly from experience, and we can chip in here as well. Have you ever had any particularly difficult conversations about your finances?
We have never had an argument about money.
Yeah, we were talking about this. We haven't had an argument about money, but you know what? Thinking about it,
I've got a few up my sleeve.
We haven't argued about money, but I would say we've had, I guess, not difficult conversations, but just conversations around cultural aspects of like wedding planning. So like in the African culture, in most African cultures, there's a thing about dowry.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So like there's dowries that still exists in our cultures, and
in some Asian
and
as well.
some other parts of the world as well. And I guess navigating how to approach those situations in a way that makes sense to us can be, I would say, a little bit difficult, because on the woman's side, there's usually a lot more pressure in terms of like traditional expectations, whereas on the man's side, it's a little bit different. And I would say we've been trying to navigate that in a way that works for us and in a way that makes us comfortable, but that also kind of like respects the culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I would say that's probably the only thing that's been a little bit tricky that we've been trying to navigate, but we've never argued about it. And I mean, touch wood, we haven't. We're about to plan a wedding soon, so I think maybe things might heat up a little bit, but we're laying the foundation.
We haven't had an argument about money, but the caveat is that like it's just the two of us. We haven't had a wedding, we haven't had children. Like there's so many more life experiences to come, which we may find challenging, but where it's just the two of us, and I knew that there would be expectations around like culturally or even like maybe gendered expectations that might come into our relationship.
And again, we spoke about that really early. Very early into the relationship. I was like, dowries involved when it comes to like getting married in my culture, and we were very open.
But my thing was just like, great, now I just need to figure out how to make as much money as possible without screwing anyone over. So the productivity that you've seen from me in the last couple of years, like a lot of that's to do with it. And I think I really welcome that. I'm so I feel like if we weren't together, I would just be in a room with a mattress on the floor and a PS5 in the corner and just a phone so I can order Deliveroo 3 times a day. Like, but it's this relationship has really pushed me.
This episode of Money and Us is sponsored by XTB. I think a lot of people sit on the edge of investing for quite a while. Maybe you've experienced this yourself. You know you probably should be doing something more with your money, but you're worried about getting it wrong. You feel like you need to understand everything before you start, so you wait. But one of the things I've learned over the years is that confidence doesn't usually come before action. It comes from taking small steps, learning as you go, and building understanding over time. And investing can be just like that too. It's not about trying to get rich quickly or making perfect decisions. It's about allowing your money to grow over the long term and developing your confidence along the way. That's where XTB can help. XTB offers access to a range of investment options alongside educational resources and tools designed to help you learn and make informed decisions as you go. If investing is something you've been meaning to explore but haven't quite known where to start, XTB could be a useful place to begin. To find out more, just click the link for XTB below this video. And remember, your capital is at risk when investing, and it's important to understand what you're investing in. Investment values can rise or fall. Always do your research. That's so funny to me to hear because I only know this you. I don't know another version of you.
I don't want to know him either.
I just see you in your suit at Downing Street, like looking the part. I can not imagine this mattress with the PS, whatever it was.
I'd be a teenager still for sure.
Yeah. I love that though. That's so cool. You've made me just think of an area where I do feel like I don't think I've really articulated this because we don't really argue loads about
what you just said. It's probably made the same
Go
penny
on,
drop.
you go.
I can't remember an argument around money before we had kids.
Ooh.
When it was just the two of us, there's expendable income, we're on the same page on everything. Yeah. I think post having the kids, I think there were some times you'll be like, we're not doing well for money. Like, we're fine. And I'll be like, it's okay, we're good. You're like, no, we need more for this. And it made me realize I wasn't living in the day-to-day actual needs of the family, the kids, the stuff we got. And we were fine from my point of view. Like, and I'm a fairly cheap date. Like, I don't need loads of stuff. Like, the things that I had that make me feel like we're doing okay, I had and we were good. But there were things to do with just the kids' needs or, I don't know, just stuff, classes, ballet, clothes, whatever. I didn't feel as much. And it definitely took a good few rounds of you feeling like you're saying the same thing for it finally to be like, I think there's something here I'm not feeling. I think I need to really hear you more so. I think maybe we were at that where we were at and where I was at work-wise. I didn't have lots of opportunities to just earn loads and loads. So I just couldn't really see much of a way through. So I think one lesson for me was as your family life develops, learning to listen to like you were just a little bit closer to maybe some of the needs than I was. And it's really important if that's the case that you listen well and understand. And the second thing that stands out is I'm naturally quite a positive person, and we do Clifton Strength Finders at work. I have positivity like in my top 5 strengths. Strategy is quite low, whereas Anna has like strategy number 1. So looking at the future, like Anna be like, how are we going to make this work? How are we going to do this? We'll be fine. We'll be fine. And it's not like I'm faking. It's like a deep-seated belief. We're going to be okay. And I've realized probably a few years of that, you would ask the question and be like, how? What's your...
Show me the numbers.
Love the vision, but yeah.
But more than that, like, what's the plan for that? That's great you love those kinds of houses. And how are you going to get there? Do you know what kind of salary that we would need collectively to afford that kind of house? And I can live with oh no, we'll get there one day. I know you're saying you'll get there one day, but it actually has to turn into like a plan. And I guess that's your kind of strategy talent at play. That's not natural for me. So I think that's probably now I'm probably more self-aware to realize, okay, just sheer positivity doesn't pay a mortgage.
Damn.
Yeah. There actually is a plan that needs to be hatched, and that's where I think with joining forces a lot more and more.
It's a good balance though, because I do think being positive allows you to think clearly. Like I always find that if I'm panicking about something, it is so hard for me to think. But if I just sit down, calm down, try and be positive, imagine that there can be a way out. And then that's when like your way of thinking comes in, because then you're able to strategize.
Yeah,
And
you make a good team.
yeah.
Yeah, and I need a bit of this positivity because I'm like a doom cloud in the mornings. It takes me it's like 11 a.m. is when I sort of turn into a positive version of myself. And then the rest of the day's fine, but it's every morning it's like coming out of the valley. Like, Sai, do something, make me laugh or something. Okay. What the thing I was going to say is I wanted to ask you guys what you think about is sometimes the conversation or the argument around money not actually about money. And I think as you were speaking, it made me think the times where we've had the biggest disconnect, and I wouldn't say massive arguments, but just like frustration or feel like we're butting heads, have been times where I've known something's not right, but not known how to articulate it and not known how to communicate it in a way that's enough to get you to listen or just say it well to make you understand. And I think that's so in that moment, it wouldn't necessarily be about the money. It would just be this feeling of like, we just need to move this thing here that's not working. And I think that's where I feel like there's a lot of layers to these conversations. Do you guys think there's often other things going on in the mix?
Yeah, I think arguments come from misalignment. And I don't think arguing is bad either. I'm very thankful that when we argue, we do keep it respectful. So I think in the process of
So important.
arguing or talking, however you choose to resolve it, you're trying to meet in the middle. And maybe it'll be more your middle or more my middle, but you're trying to sync up. So rarely do I think the argument is purely about money. It's more about mismanaged expectation or a miscommunication, or why didn't you know I felt this way about
or like
X, Y,
I
and
said,
Z?
like not listening maybe,
Yeah,
or like you feeling like you have to repeat something again and again.
Yeah.
And for someone who's quite literal, and language is important to me, and from like a mathematician point of view, I like sentences that are watertight. And I think for you, you would say that's not often the way you communicate.
No.
There's a feeling, and there's a gut sense, and you're trying to put it into words. And I would get hung up at the surface level of the sentence you said. Well, that's not actually true. Rather than be like, can you just look beyond that? Just presume the things I'm going to say aren't exactly accurate, but just can you see there's something else going on here? So I think that also, I mean, that's years that took me to understand. Just be okay with like.
But let's be real. My reaction to that was, well, I'll just say it again, but louder.
Yeah.
And then another time louder.
Yeah.
Oh wait, this isn't.
But
working.
each time you're escalating, you're saying things that aren't actually categorically true. Well, like that's just not true. So that's a style of communicating we have to just work out.
Yeah, it's hard.
Just find each other in.
And I think finding each other in it is really tough.
But your question though, is it not about the money? I think money is always somehow linked to something that you value. And so, it's not just about the hard cash. It often is other stuff you brought into it. Or it could be actually for a few months you've been feeling this, and suddenly this is the one thing that's triggered that. But actually it's not. It's deep down you feel this, or you feel trapped, or we feel like we're not going to ever earn more or do other things. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what it's really about. So, I do often feel like from our cases, it's not just money, it's about something much bigger. Why are you smiling so much?
No, I just keep thinking about it, like I could never have seen how much motherhood would have changed me, and I could never have mapped that out or even told you who I would be post motherhood to who I was before.
How long were you guys together before you had children?
I think 5 or 6 years married. Yeah, so I was 26 when I had my oldest.
4 years.
Yeah, and it completely changed who I was as a person. And that's one of the things. Like, there's a lot of conversations now about, affording children and how expensive it is. But there's so much that just happens by becoming a parent that you can't know beforehand, and who it makes you. And like you said about your relationship and who it's made you be as a person, that was my experience with parenting and becoming a parent. Was like it just changed me, and I wanted to be a different person. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be someone my kids would respect, but I also wanted to create this world for them. And like previously, before having kids, you and I we'd just be so like, oh, we don't need much. Like, have a little holiday every now and then, as long as we've got like some nice food and a bottle of wine. Pretty chilled, weren't we? But since having kids, I just turned bougie. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's partly because of like motherhood is very physical, and it's like there's so much like labor that goes into the household, the getting the kids in bed, bathing them, and it is for both parents, but it's like as a mum, they often gravitate to you in a physical way.
We've got 3 girls as well, just to say.
Oh.
So there is a slight natural. Well, I wouldn't say they always gravitate to you, but like in some
sense,
obvious ways they do. Yeah.
There's a kind of like a touchy feeliness that comes from being a mum that is really appropriate and lovely, but it is. And I'm an introvert, so having people here all the time, it made me need other things. I just thought, oh, in the past I would have seen them as quite materialistic, but then since becoming a parent, they actually became needs and things like
lifeline.
lifelines for like a nice coffee or a good holiday or something like that. And I think often, we can sort of poo-poo things like that and just be like, oh, they're just extras. You don't really need that. You just need happiness. You just need love in your home. And it's like, you do, but sometimes you're knackered and you just need like a good night out for your marriage, or you need other things.
Some self-love, it sounds like.
Right, exactly. And I think, and also that's just me, but then you look at the life that we want to create for our kids and it's like, there's so much we want to give them and so much we want to do. So there's like all these layers to it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
We talk about starting a family a lot and probably daily at this point. And hopefully we're lucky enough to have kids, and I'm so curious about how we will change. What was it, yesterday or 2 days ago? We were like, why don't we just go to Sainsbury's at like 10 p.m?
Yeah. And we just went for a walk.
Wow,
we went for a walk, and we were walking. We were like, this is pre-child stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a random walk to the supermarket to buy 2 things.
Yeah.
Like half an hour away. Like we went to the next town.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to say, like, positively, I fell in love with an amazing 21-year-old Anna Martin. This lovely, blonde, humble, confident, creative. In fact, I didn't even know you to be creative actually then. But enough, I was like head over heels. I was like, I want to marry you. I found my soulmate. If I look back now, 18 years later, to that Anna and to who you are now, I try to say something that doesn't sound negative, but this is genuinely positive. I feel like you are, and what I know of you is like literally like 10 times the woman.
Aww.
And I don't know if it's parenting or life or whatever, but I've just seen you. I think back now, I've probably seen like 10, 15% of actually who you really were. And it's only through these things like parenting, starting a business, and stuff, actually these sides of a person come out that you didn't even know were there. Seeing the creator, the entrepreneur, just the show up, the hustle, to do stuff, to seeing the nurture of a mother, which you just can't see in a 20-year-old in quite the same way, just when you're just together. So yeah, and I'll probably say it's the same. I feel like I'm such an idiot, immature, insecure 20-year-old in so many ways. But obviously you can see, elements of someone's character. But my encouragement is, in all those conversations, the version of you, the other side of it, is good. You go through stuff together. Something comes out of you, and in your relationship it's maturing, and you both grow as people and grow together.
That's so nice.
Thank you so much for that testimony.
That is really nice.
And I do think that's one of the sad things about the individualistic culture that we have now. The world has got very individualistic, hasn't it? Is that you'd see that more in communities. Historically, you'd have like the village, and you'd have the granny, and you'd have the aunties,
more community,
and you'd have the people, the layers and the different demographics and the different ages. You'd see that more every day. And now I think because we're in our own little lives, especially in London, like if you're living in London, you can easily just be so isolated in your own little bubble, and you don't get to see the flip side of these things. And I've got friends that I've had since year 7. We're still really good friends, and the women that they are now I just like they amaze me, and I just think I knew you in year 7
Mm.
when we used to have like really dodgy fringes and like really bad fashion, and now I look at them and I just think you are amazing women, and I could never have seen who you'd become. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the work you've been doing recently, Rotimi, with your amazing podcast and the stuff you've been posting online. As you know, I hope you know, I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
Of everything you've been doing. I know you guys have been very much both involved in that. You've been speaking about culture, identity, and Black British wealth. It's been incredible from my point of view, from a learning point of view of some of the stuff you've been sharing. Would you mind giving us a bit of context about that? Because I'd love to bring that into the context of relationships and how that plays out. So could you share a little bit about some stats maybe, or some of the stuff you've been doing?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll say now I speak about money in 2 ways, with respect to the country as a whole, but then with respect to the Black British community. So that's people from both African and Caribbean and mixed descent. And essentially, there's a piece of research that the Office for National Statistics puts out every couple of years. It's called the Wealth and Asset Survey, and it looks at household wealth in Great Britain, and then it breaks it down into different kind of areas: gender, age, ethnicity. When we look at the country as a whole, median household wealth is around about £293,000. That's made up of property, which is the largest store of wealth in the UK. Then it's private pensions. Then it's financial assets, which is savings and investments minus debt. And then it's physical wealth, which is the stuff in your house and your car and so on. When we look at the Black Caribbean ethnic group, that 293,000 falls to around 65,000. And when we look at the Black African ethnic group, that 65,000 falls lower still to 39,000. And then when you drill down into those 4 components, we see that median household property wealth, the largest store of wealth in the UK for the Black British community, is £0. And that financial assets is around £1,000 or less. So in my view, the single biggest challenge that we have to and will overcome as a Black British community is to increase our household wealth. Because when we look at these stats, they aren't just numbers to me. They actually map back to my lived experience. So
Right.
that £0 of median property wealth maps back to the 10 houses I lived in by the time I was 18 years old. I grew up in a single parent household, and there's a direct correlation between a lack of savings and relationship breakdown. Interestingly, people from the Black African ethnic group, both on the male and female side, live the longest in the UK, but also have the least pension savings. So there's all so Black women live longer than any other ethnic group. Fun fact, the oldest person in the world is also a Black Colombian woman.
Wow.
Just find that very interesting. So I feel like if we can solve for wealth, not only will we end up with more monetary wealth, but there will be so many positive outcomes, wealth adjacent outcomes that will happen as a result of that challenge. So what I'm in now is I'm in a awareness building phase where I'm talking about it on the podcast with people from across the culture, professionals, experts, people from the finance community. And then I'm doing my own independent videos on this as well.
And I think it's so important that you bring these numbers into real life, because like you just said, these are stats. It's like data that you've got, but you've got lived experience. So can you speak a little bit about how this looks in relationships and families, and what you're noticing and what the patterns are related to those statistics you shared?
Yeah, I can speak to a few examples. So as this relates to my relationship with Dora, we really value family and we really value culture, and we're engaged now. We want to get married, but there's a very real conversation to be had around, do we do the wedding now or later, and what size of wedding do we do? Because when you come from the community whose wealth building years are ahead of them, and the average cost of a wedding in the UK is 24 grand. Your 24 grand is not the same as every other community's 24 grand. That's your principal, that's your seed money. And if each generation wants to have the big Instagram wedding, then you're just going to end up in the same spot again and again. It relates to relationships in the sense of, I think I spoke about this earlier in the conversation, but like sending money back home, giving money to parents, giving money to grandparents either. Like I'm probably not going to get an inheritance, say. I don't know if you, because we are that first generation of wealth builders in our community. So you're thinking about the generation that came before you and the sacrifices that they made to come to this country for better opportunities, but then you're also thinking about your children,
the next generation,
and what you're going to teach them and what you're going to pass on to them. By the way, like, we will do it. We will build our wealth. If you take the numbers that I gave and you apply very modest compound returns to them, you do end up with median household wealth in the 6 figures, which is my aim. By the time I'm gone, I want median Black British household wealth to be 6 figures or more. And if I do that, I'll consider it a good job done. So it can grow to that, but it requires everyone to be aware, everyone to agree that this is our single biggest challenge, and then for us to radically collaborate together to close this wealth gap. And what I love is that I've been able to come on this podcast and have conversations like this one, and I've been welcomed with this information, not just by other Black British people, but by everyone, actually, because I was so scared to talk about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. He was really scared.
For like months. I've known this stuff for ages, but I just thought if I start talking along ethnic lines, that is going to alienate people and people aren't going to like it. I'll post something.
And in turn, you might be alienated as well.
And then I might not be alienated. But actually, I think, firstly, some of the stats are just very stark.
Yes. Yeah.
But also, I think that the internet is evolving and people are realizing that actually the purpose of social media is to facilitate specialized conversations with different community groups. There's a subreddit for maple syrup, for goodness sake.
Is there really?
Yeah. So if you want to learn about maple syrup, go there. If you want to learn about Black British wealth, come to my page. I think that's the whole point of the internet.
I think it's phenomenal what you're doing. And I think you do it so well because you're coming from a place of education, and it is news to someone like me, those stats. I wouldn't know them. I wouldn't have heard them. And when you present them like that, it's just so wonderful and helpful to bring, I like you say, the awareness, but also then what are the changes that need to happen and what are the So in terms of bridging that gap between the 6-figure wealth, what are the things that need to happen? What are the things that need to change from your point of view?
Wow.
Sorry, it's a big question.
No.
And just while you're thinking, thank you for sharing what you just said. It's really appreciative, just vulnerability and honesty in it. I didn't know some of those stats, just to my shame, and they are shocking. But also, I so appreciate your just aspiration and vision. Like, I'd like this to move significantly by the time I die. That's the most inspiring thing I've heard for a long time.
Thank you so much. It's working. It's working.
It's really moving.
Knowing you're probably measuring it, aren't you?
And
no, as in, like, when we have the conversations, the things we're saying do land. But also, like, we were out a couple of days ago. I did quite 3 events on Tuesday, and I was walking along the street, and then this lady was just like, "Mr. Money Jar," and I was like, Dora, I don't know who that is. But
I thought he knew her. She looked like she knew him.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
But when people from the community see me outside now, they're just like, "Thank you so much that you're talking about this, and that is for us." And then to everyone who's outside the community, hopefully they can understand now why the latest season of my podcast is focusing on Black British wealth and well-being. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to do by doing that. And then if you look at the way some of the episodes are performing and the comments and just how it's being received, that's like a particular group of people that are like, yes, thank you. And it's my privilege.
I think they feel seen as well.
Yeah. I think what I'd also share is there are some outside of, systemic barriers and discrimination and that sort of thing, there are some demographic reasons why this gap exists. For example, and this feeds into how to close it. So just under half of the Black British population lives in London. which is where salaries are highest, but also where living costs are highest. So if you look at the average salary versus the average cost of a property in London, if we are to get on the property ladder as a community, it's probably going to have to be outside the capital at this point. And when we look at other ethnic groups, that's what they've done. They're more spread across the UK rather than concentrated in just one spot. And I would also say to everyone that I would side-eye any politician who tries to bring in an anti-work from home policy, because as a discriminatory policy, that does not allow people freedom of geography. That's the end of that TED Talk.
Can we have a little bit more on that? Just unpack it just slightly for me.
Yeah, so when you insist that people have to come to the office 5 days a week when they don't have to, that's going to disadvantage people who live in more expensive parts of the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think flexible working is a positive thing when done right. So that's the property piece. Again, with like the big expenses, like the weddings, like the cars, like the designer clothing and so on, trade-offs are going to have to be made. Our parents' sacrifices that they upped and left when they were much younger than we are right now, and they moved to countries, no Google, no social media, just children and just like a hope. So the trade-offs that we're going to have to make is we're going to have to be net investors and savers in assets rather than spenders on expenses. And then when we look at closing the pension gap, that's just, that's you go to school, you get good grades, get a good job, high wage, high skill job, career kind of thing. That one's quite boring. But when we look at how pension savings are saved up, it's done over the course of your life. As I said, I do believe it will be done. It starts with conversations and then awareness raising, but then it also requires policy and infrastructure and wider collaboration as well.
I'm looking forward to seeing you in those conversations, making things change and being directly influential in those policy-making conversations.
Thank you.
It's exciting and well done for everything you're doing. I want to slightly shift because I do want to get to a few how-tos in this conversation, because I feel like there will be people listening going, I don't even know where to start about talking about money with my partner. I'm not even in a relationship right now, but I'd like to one day. But in the past, this thing happened and it's thrown me completely and I don't know how I could ever do it again. Let's start with what's working. I've already heard your openness, your honesty with each other. That's a clear one. Are there any other things that you just think are like, these are like no-brainers for us? This just works really well.
Have you got any other sort of like 4-letter like acronyms that you do every day? The CEST.
Timmy loves those. He's got quite a few.
Yeah. 3 o'clock we do a DWX2 and
So the funny thing about that was I was going to talk about another 4-letter thingy.
Come on,
so
I knew it.
I do think that alignment is key in relationships, and then downstream from alignment comes agreement on things like money. So I would say to couples, something that worked for us was we did our Myers-Briggs. We did our love languages.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm an INTJ. I believe you're an INTJ as well.
Yeah, but I think I might have shifted to which is the one that's shifted?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, it's not important. We are very similar.
Yeah.
Bit scary.
Yeah,
Carry on.
I'm shifting more from the I into the E as well. Maybe because of the work that we do. So and then that along with like the therapy piece, it just gives you that shared hymn book of this is what we're like, or this is what you're like, and this is what I'm like. So that when you do come to talk about money, you have an understanding of each other. So practical example with the love languages, if I know, for example, that Dora's love language, I think it's words of affirmation and acts of service.
Yeah.
So if I know those two things about her, I know how I can spend money in a way that she will best appreciate.
Right. Yeah.
And that in the beginning, that's fun. You're doing a quiz together. You're doing it's like a personality test type thing. And then you can use that to apply to money. Oh yeah, your attachment style is another one.
Right.
Yeah.
So the online attachment style quiz, I can't remember what the name of the website is, but it's a purple website. Oh my goodness. The 2-page PDF report thing that you get after that is like, how do you know me so well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I've not done it. I
reads
need
you
to
so
do that.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Myers-Briggs, love languages, attachment style.
style.
Learn that for both of you, and then
Wow.
apply that to finances.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever really thought about it, about applying those to your finances, but that's genius. Yeah.
And I think I would say a build on that is just to make your expectations really clear from the start. I think you asked about like expectations in terms of like gender roles and like who pays for what. If you are the type of person that expects the man to pay for everything, make that very clear at the start.
Right.
There's no point beating around the bush and then just making him suffer a few months down the line. Like, it needs to be very clear that you're expecting a man to do this, to earn this much. And if you do want to do the 50-50 thing, make that clear as well, so like you both understand how much you're putting in. I think when it's really clear at the start, it just makes life so much easier because everyone knows what they're bringing to the table and how much they need to bring. So, yeah.
How much do we need to be who we are, and that's who we are, and this is what we want, is what I want? And how much do we need to adapt for our partner?
That's a good question. I would say it's 50-50. I would say it's important to be authentic so that they see you where you're at. But I think over time, those things start to come naturally as you start to care for someone and as you get to know someone, because ultimately you're two people that have come from two completely different lives, especially like we met in our 30s. By that point, a lot of people are kind of stuck in their ways. And so it's really important that over time you're able to be adaptable, and you also want to evolve, because I would say it's really hard to be in a functioning, healthy, successful relationship if you're going to be stuck in your ways. Like, I think if you're going to be that way, your relationships are not cut out for you, because eventually you will have to give in. But it's also important for yourself that you feel you're not losing yourself in a relationship and that your needs are being met. But yeah, it's just about communication and being really open.
Yeah, and I think you should just, as early as you can, communicate your values. If one of you likes rock and the other one likes jazz, then that's fine. You either listen to different music, or perhaps you can teach each other what music you like. That's on the interest side. But if one of you wants kids and the other one doesn't, that's not a good thing to find out a year or two in. Like, you want to communicate that as early as possible, so that you can decide what you want to do about that.
Do you think there's a right way in terms of thinking ahead now going into marriage? Because obviously that legally combines you, doesn't it, in a very legal, very structured way. Do you think there's a way, there's a right way to manage your finances as a couple? Thinking things like shared versus separate finances. Heard a lot of stuff recently about you should always have a pot of money aside if something, just in case you need to get out of that relationship. What would be your guys' take on that?
I think that for women, particularly when we think about things like economic abuse, I can completely understand why a woman would want to have her own pot of money. And I've had some fascinating conversations on my podcast about like the impact of motherhood on earnings and even career trajectory. So I can completely empathize with that point of view. But I'm a fan of, you're married, you're one, and you proceed that way. No point buying an umbrella and poking holes in it.
Yeah.
So do the joint thing, and then it just becomes about systems. So I quite like, you earn money over there, your partner earns money over there. That then goes into a shared account, which then pays for the shared things, and then that shared account can pay you both a bit of pocket money to then spend on. So if I want to buy my video games and you want to buy whatever you want to buy, then you can do that.
Yeah, I think that's what's worked for us. I think I started off as a hardcore like share everything, and then as I've learned about people's different situations and some of the hard things people have gone through, I've become much more of there's not a one size fits all, but yet we've really, really benefited from combining and sharing. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. You are right. When you cross the line of marriage, there's a legal thing that happens. But in terms of like, we've chosen, we're one team. Also, over the longness of marriage, it's never 50-50 the whole time. What if one of you gets long-term ill for a year? well, no, we need you to earn this and me to earn this. It has to be 50-50. It's actually quite unrealistic. Or there's just even with kids, that changes things for a season. And it's like the idea that two people's even career growth goes at exactly the same pace salary-wise, that's really unlikely. There might be like ebbs and flows of how you're earning different amounts of money. So yeah, I think just being wise up to that, but having a shared pot and just being agreed, like in seasons our marriage might look like this, in seasons financially might look like that. I think we've had that kind of alignment from the beginning, which helps. I think talking about it, going through a budget together was really helpful. Took us a long time to realize how we need to do that like once a quarter, basically. Just like we've done it, we've decided what's in each pot, let's go to that, great. And just within 3 months something can change, or there's another expense that's gone up, or I don't know, piano lessons now, okay, right. So just revisiting our budget sort of every 3 months is a system. I like the fact you talk about systems. I think people will often hear the word system and it's a turn off, but it isn't. It's a way of like implementing the things that you value. Systems are there for your peace and well-being. Otherwise just things just go to mess.
Yeah, the 24-hour clock is a system. The 7-day week is a system. Money is a system. And I'm finding as an entrepreneur that you can only go so far if you're relying upon your willpower or your memory, or you have to build things so that, like when we first started working, I realized how much together. I realized how much information I was holding in my head.
Yeah, right.
That I had to decant into Google Docs so that it could be understood by another person. And even then it had to make sense.
Yeah.
And that's really even good. Like a daily sort of thing. On the marriage and finances piece, I would also encourage people to really familiarize yourself with the fact that like marriage is romantic and there's a spiritual element to it as well, if you have faith, but it is a financial commitment. You get married to someone, you can share your tax-free allowance, your IHT allowance doubles in terms of how much you can pass on. If one of you, if you get married to someone who's bought a house before, I believe you lose your first-time buyer status if you've not bought a house together. So there's all these financial and legal things that genuinely do change when you get married as well.
Yeah, important. Rotimi and Dora, we've finished every episode the same way. And so I want to send a question over to you just as we wrap up with this conversation. And just thank you again, because I think you've been so honest and open. I really,
thank you.
I really appreciate it. And Simon, I'm going to send it over to you as well, because I would like to know. But to you two first, what does wealth mean to you?
I'd say time, having time. I would say it's having time and not having to worry and about money and that worry pouring into your time. I think when you've got time to do the things that you want, to spend it with family and friends, to like, I don't know, engage with your hobbies. For me, that's what wealth is. Financial wealth is great, and you do need financial wealth in order to have time. But I think if you have enough money to be able to have some time to yourself, then that's great.
I like that.
I completely agree. Yeah, time is the one non-renewable resource.
You can't have it back, can you? Yeah.
That's good. How do you feel like that, Si?
I can't help but think of the next generation when I hear the word wealth. So I'm just moved by what you said earlier. Wealth means to me the ability to give and to provide, whether that is if you're in a place where you're lucky enough to have kids and give to a generation or a generation after, or to give to the people around you. And ultimately give to yourself in terms of time. I think wealth is you're in a position where you're able to give.
Oh, that's good. I love it. Thank you so much, both of you. You're wonderful.
Been amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much.
you, Si, as well. Appreciate you.
Here all day. Yeah.
We'll leave it there, but come again, please.
We will.
Listening to this podcast, you'll notice that we cover a lot of different areas when it comes to money. But one thing I hear all the time is, how do I actually pull this together and apply it to my own finances? And that's why I wrote Money Mentor. This book takes all of these key ideas from mindset to managing your money to growing it and showing you how to apply them step by step in your real life, month to month. It's not about being perfect with money. It's about having a clear plan and knowing what to do next. Inside the book, you'll also get access to practical tools, including my own budgeting framework and additional resources to help you actually implement what you're learning. Because knowing what to do is one thing, but putting it into action is where everything starts to change. I've had so many messages from people saying that it has helped them to finally feel clear and more in control of their money. So if you're ready to feel more in control of your finances and build a system that actually works for you, you can access Money Mentor using the link below this episode.